your intestines are the only thing that are actually in physical contact with your diet besides your mouth and your esophagus and your stomach, right? So the food goes through your digestive system, physically touches it and makes contact with it. And GI docs are typically like, yeah, eat whatever you want. So that bothers me. And I do know some plant-based GI folks, so not you guys. Will hypernourishment affect with colitis? So hypernourishment is really important for healing colitis. It's really interesting that the doctors that are most tasked with helping people's intestines heal also have a general belief that diet doesn't impact your intestines, where your intestines are the only thing that are actually in physical contact with your diet besides your mouth and your esophagus and your stomach, right? So the food goes through your digestive system, physically touches it and makes contact with it. And GI docs are typically like, yeah, eat whatever you want. So that bothers me. And I do know some plant-based GI folks, so not you guys. But typically that's what we're taught. I mean, in medicine in general, we're taught diet really doesn't have an effect on health. And I'm working on making things better. I've taught a lot of med students, but anyway. So one of the most important things you can do to get rid of inflammation in your colon is change your diet so that you're not putting things that create physical distress and inflammation into your colon. If you watched my online classes, I talked about a study done years ago, Scientific American, where they showed that that just dairy alone causes inflammation along the intestinal walls in mammals, right? And sometimes even bleeding. So if you're eating dairy products, if you're eating animal fats, all of those things, you're going to create some inflammation, which can lead to things like what they think of now as leaky gut, which is why I cringe inwardly and outwardly when people say that you should eat stuff like bone broth for colitis. I'm like, you're just exposing the gut to more inflammation. So they might feel better in the moment because broth is easy to digest, right? But the impact of it being there is actually going to continue the inflammatory saga, if you will. So if the colitis is really severe where any food is causing bleeding and pain, you might need to take a break at first and take things like L-glutamine or pure curcumin to try to calm down the inflammation. Start out with juices or smoothies and work your way up to food. But the protocol will be the same. The only differences I make in colitis is how I introduce those foods to make sure that there's no pain. But the ultimate goal will be to get you to the full protocol so that you can heal completely, especially from whatever was causing it to begin with.